Climate change is creating survival challenges that didn't exist when current emergency gear was developed. Traditional approaches to wilderness safety assume historical weather patterns that no longer apply. I'm going to show you why future survival depends on adaptable technology rather than location-specific preparation. Historical emergency preparedness assumed predictable seasonal patterns and gradually changing weather conditions. Emergency gear was designed for specific climates and situations that followed historical norms with minor variations. Climate chaos creates unprecedented weather patterns that exceed design parameters of traditional emergency equipment. Gear designed for gradual temperature changes fails when temperatures drop 40 degrees in 2 hours, or when seasonal weather occurs in wrong seasons. Future emergency preparedness must address rapid weather changes, unprecedented temperature swings, and conditions that have never occurred in recorded history. Traditional location-specific preparation becomes inadequate when locations experience historically impossible weather. Emergency sleeping bags represent future-proof technology because they respond to human physiology rather than environmental conditions. They work equally well in unprecedented heat, unprecedented cold, or unprecedented weather combinations. Smart technology integration offers opportunities to improve emergency preparedness through real-time weather monitoring, automatic emergency alerts, and GPS-based rescue coordination. But smart technology fails when batteries die, networks crash, or electronics freeze. The future of emergency preparedness will combine smart technology for normal conditions with simple technology for emergency conditions. Electronic systems provide early warning and coordination, but basic thermal protection keeps you alive when electronics fail. Urban emergency preparedness becomes increasingly important as climate change affects cities through power grid failures, transportation disruptions, and infrastructure damage. Urban emergencies often strand people with no wilderness skills in situations requiring basic survival tools. Emergency sleeping bags work equally well in urban and wilderness emergencies because heat loss kills people the same way regardless of location. Power outages in winter cities create survival situations identical to wilderness emergencies, but most urban dwellers have zero preparation. Global supply chain disruptions mean traditional emergency preparedness approaches that depend on restocking supplies become inadequate. Future preparedness must emphasize durable, long-lasting equipment that works for years without replacement or maintenance. Mass population movements due to climate refugees will create emergency situations involving millions of unprepared people simultaneously. Emergency preparedness solutions must scale to serve entire populations, not just individual outdoor enthusiasts. Educational systems worldwide are beginning to recognize climate preparedness as essential life skills rather than optional outdoor recreation knowledge. Future generations will learn emergency preparedness the same way current generations learn fire safety. International cooperation on emergency preparedness standards creates opportunities for sharing effective technologies and approaches across borders. Emergency sleeping bags meet universal safety standards because thermal regulation follows the same physics everywhere on Earth. Artificial intelligence and machine learning will revolutionize emergency prediction and response, but they can't change the fundamental human requirement for thermal regulation during exposure emergencies. Future AI systems will recommend the same basic thermal protection that works today. Space colonization research drives development of emergency life support systems for environments far more hostile than Earth. These extreme environment solutions will filter down to terrestrial emergency preparedness, just as Apollo program innovations created current emergency sleeping bags. Biotechnology advances might eventually modify human thermal regulation capabilities, but current emergency preparedness must address existing human physiology. Emergency sleeping bags work with human biology as it exists today, not as it might exist in future decades. Economic inequality means emergency preparedness solutions must work for everyone, regardless of income level. Expensive, complex emergency systems create two-tiered survival, where wealthy people live and poor people die in identical emergencies. The democratization of survival technology through affordable, effective emergency gear ensures equal access to life-saving protection. Emergency sleeping bags cost less than a restaurant meal, but provide protection equivalent to $1,000 survival systems. Future emergency preparedness will likely emphasize community resilience over individual preparedness, but individual thermal protection remains essential because exposure kills individuals faster than communities can organize rescue efforts. Climate adaptation strategies must account for the reality that humans cannot adapt physiologically to rapid environmental changes. Technology must compensate for biological limitations, and emergency sleeping bags represent proven technology for this compensation. The future of emergency preparedness combines ancient wisdom about simple, reliable tools with modern materials, science, and manufacturing capabilities. Emergency sleeping bags embody this combination, timeless thermal principles using space-age materials and global manufacturing. Ultimately, future emergency preparedness success will be measured by lives saved rather than technologies deployed. Emergency sleeping bags have the best track record of any emergency technology and will likely remain essential regardless of future innovations in other areas.